Ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, welcome back to SJMMA. In today's video, I'm going to be looking at every single available champ matchup in the UFC and thinking about how it's going to go. I've been thinking about this video for a while, but I thought, now's the time. So here we go. Just a few things I want to run through first. Like I said, I'm going through every single available one, right from women's flyweight up to heavyweight. I'm going to give a bit of a breakdown and a prediction on the fight, but it's my opinion, and they're like arseholes. We've all got them. So if you disagree, you're probably wrong. I'm not going to lie, but let me know in the comments anyway. Let's waste no more time and get straight into it. Let's start with women's 125. It's Grasso against Zhang Weili. Now, I'm going to be talking about weight a lot in this, obviously. It's completely different weight classes. One's obviously moving up to a higher one, so weight is always going to be a factor. But in this one, Alexa Grasso's not a massive flyweight. She's not a tiny one, but she's not a massive one. And Zhang Weili is very dense and thick set, especially for strawweight. So already the natural weight advantage that you'd think Grasso would have isn't really there. And to be honest with you, I do think that Zhang Weili would be able to successfully move up and take Grasso's belt. For the simple reason of, I think with Grasso, she enjoys being on the front foot. I mean, Shevchenko is very, very cerebral, but she's very much a counter-puncher. And I think if you let Grasso go first and she kind of gets into her rhythm with her boxing, she can be dangerous. But Zhang Weili will get in her face. I don't think Grasso will like that very much, and I think she'll probably get the TKO in I'll go fourth round with a TKO. Zhang Weili would become a double champion in this situation. This one, okay. Champ matchups are usually interesting. Like, almost always. I mean, I'm not losing my mind over Zhang versus Grasso, but I'm interested in it. I'd definitely be very intrigued to watch it unfold. This one, I really don't give a monkeys. In the slightest. That being said, like I said earlier, I'm going to mention weight a lot. Raquel Pennington is a much bigger human being than Alexa Grasso. I think Grasso is a much better mixed martial artist. I'm not sure if Raquel Pennington learned how to throw a punch properly in the 10 years she's been training. But she'd lay on her, I think, for 5 rounds, win a very boring 49-46 decision and keep a bantamweight title. Not a good video for Grasso, and this is not a fight I want to see anytime soon. Now things get a bit fruity, people. Moving on to the men's bantamweight super fight of Sean O'Malley versus Alejandro Pantoja. I want to start this by saying Alejandro Pantoja is arguably the most well-rounded mixed martial artist on the roster. If he's not, he's up there. He can knock you out, he can submit you, and he can grind you out over 5 rounds. What more do you want? Seriously. He's a very, very good fighter. I think he should be higher in the pound for pound rankings. I think he's superb. But my thoughts on this fight are that it would go very similar to O'Malley against Aljamain Sterling. I think Pantoja would go in with the game plan of let's try and drag him down to the mat, which I think is smart against O'Malley. It's probably what you should be doing. But I think he makes some of the same mistakes that Sterling did as well. In Aljo's head, taking the first round, first kind of 6-7 minutes even, to try and kind of, I suppose, figure him out on the feet, try and get to grips with the footwork is smart. However, you've also given O'Malley the same amount of time to figure you out. And if you don't put enough of a dent in him early, he's 100% fresh, and if he lands, it's over. Pantoja, I think, would fall into the same trap. I think he would be smart not to go straight for him early, but I think he'll be a bit too reserved and go the opposite way and give O'Malley the opportunity to set him up. And with that being said, I think if this was to happen, O'Malley would 100%, I think quite certainly, defend his bantamweight title with a knockout in the first kind of 8-9 minutes of the fight. Again, very similar to what happened in his Aljo fight. I mean, Pantoja could maybe... I'm trying to think of a way that he wouldn't do that. I know Pantoja is usually somewhat aggressive. He's not exactly a patient fighter all the time. But I think with the danger of O'Malley, you have to be patient. And it's a fine line in between patient and just letting them rule the dance. I don't think he'd find that line. I think he'd get knocked out quite early, which is a shame, because I love Pantoja. We're going to keep with O'Malley. This time he's the one going up, though, to face Toria for the 145 title. Now, I've got to say, people, we all love a champ matchup. They're entertaining. They're very intriguous. Is that a word? Intriguing. There we go. For a number of reasons, but these two are starting to piss me off already, even though they're very new champions. Ilya, you won the belt 2 weeks ago. Shut the fuck up about Khabib. Shut the fuck up about Sean O'Malley. Fight some contenders or rematch Volkanovski, you little prick. Sorry. Anyway, we're not talking about that today. We're simply talking about the fight. And this one, I've gone with a controversial take here. The obvious answer is Ilya Topuria. He's bigger. He has got offensive grappling. He's got massive power. But I say O'Malley knocks him out. I do. I'll explain why. Jai Herbert. Probably not a name you expected to hear in this video, but I'm going to start by saying Jai Herbert. Now, Ilya Topuria fought Jai Herbert I think it was Volkov Aspinall. I think it may have been Blades. I think it was Volkov Aspinall at the March card. He fought him, he knocked him out, but he was in trouble early. Now, Jai Herbert is a shit fight. No, he's a much taller, longer, larger, stronger, bigger, whatever you want to say, than Sean O'Malley. There's no doubt in that. But O'Malley seems to have this ability to make himself look longer than he is in the cage. I'm sure if you ask one of his opponents, they'd say the same. He's so good at managing distance, he's so good at setting traps, all these great things that outside counter-strikers need, he's got it all in abundance. And I think Ilia Topuria likes to be on the front foot, which would lead into the fact that he would like O'Malley moving around him. But Ilia Topuria is very aggressive, which is good. It worked against Volkanovski, he battered Josh Emmett, great performances. But against O'Malley, it could be his undoing. Now you're probably thinking, why doesn't he just mix in his fantastic grappling? I completely agree, but I think Ilia and O'Malley would not like each other very much, and I think O'Malley would not be able to directly get in his head, because O'Malley's mic skills are pretty dire, but I think the build-up of the whole thing, and it would be a massive fight, it would be huge, huge money for both of them. I think the arrogance inside of Ilia would effectively think, I have to knock this guy out. And I think O'Malley would catch him as he's coming forward, to be honest. Very, very risky pick, may not happen. Ilia could easily smoke him, but that's what I'm going to say if this fight was to happen. And we're going to keep with Ilia, as he's going to move up to lightweight in this kind of reality I've made here, and fight Islam Makhachev for his lightweight title. Now, I like this fight a lot. I think there's a clear and obvious winner, but I think there would be moments where it would be intriguing. The build-up would be fun. Ilia's quite a good talker on the mic. Islam is quite stone-faced, but if you can get under his skin, maybe if he brings up Khabib, he could maybe rile him up a bit. But there is an obvious winner here. Again, I'm going to go back to Ilia's mentality here. I think the whole kind of, I'm 15-0 UFC champ way before he even fought Volkanovski is great. I love that kind of confidence in a fighter, but I think he takes it too far. You can see in the cage that he is a bit overconfident. Islam will make him look silly, in my opinion. I can see Topuria come charging in with these massive wide hooks and these literally putting everything into the right hand as he comes in every single time. And Islam just going to shoot straight through the square hips, get him on his ass and pound the shit out of him. Like a bit of old steak when you're making a sandwich or whatever you do. Anyway, and I think that will all overall correlate to an Islam Makhachev submission in about 2.5 rounds, maybe 3. I think Islam will be wary of Ilia on the feet because he hits harder than Volkanovski, we know that. But yeah, this is one of those ones that I think is very nailed on. If this was to happen, I do not see a way for Ilia to win. I really don't. He's very talented, but I think Islam would have the measure of him by quite some way. And he's a lot bigger as well because he's a weight bully. But anyway, not important. Leon Edwards, Islam Makhachev, welterweight title. This is the one I've spent the most time thinking about. I was sat in my office. I was going to say office then. It's a desk in my mum's spare room. Anyway, I was sat there about half an hour thinking about this, which is long for me. I don't prepare anything usually. And I went back and forwards on it so many times. I'd think one thing and think, yep, that guy would win. I'd think something completely different and think, oh no, that guy's definitely going to win. But it's even hard to explain people, but it's almost as if I ended up comparing their weaknesses rather than their strengths. Now I say the word weaknesses lightly, because Leon Edwards has really rounded out his game and is now a very, very competent grappler. And Islam Makhachev, especially over the last kind of 18 months, has become a very, very decent striker. So I say weaknesses kind of in inverted commas, but you get what I'm saying. Leon Edwards has fought a fighter that you can loosely relate to Islam Makhachev. That fighter is Usman. Now, MMA wrestling is different. There are loads of different levels and stages to it. There's a Colby Covington, who I thought would give Leon issues with his constant pressure. Of course, he was shit on the night, so we never saw that. There's an Usman who's a kind of take you down once, hold you there kind of thing. And there's a Chimaev who's just, I'm going to get my hands on you, and 10 seconds later, I've got my hand around your neck, basically. In my head, Islam Makhachev is kind of a crossbreed, anyway, not important, of Usman and Chimaev's kind of style. He's very much, I will hold you down. He's also very much about, I'm going to smash. So, he's a bit more aggressive than Usman, but a bit more calculated than Chimaev. He's kind of in that bracket. Which is... See, I'm even struggling to explain this, because in my head it's a lot more simple than I'm making it sound. Effectively, Usman and Makhachev are similar in enough ways where we can take what he did against Usman and translate it to Islam. Islam has not fought anyone like Leon Edwards. The closest comparison that you can make in terms of size and striking ability to what Islam's fought so far to Leon Edwards is Dan Hooker. And Leon Edwards is a far superior mixed martial artist to Dan Hooker. He's bigger, taller, much better skills. But he's the closest that you can kind of translate to. So we've seen more of what Islam can do against Leon at a high level than vice versa, if that makes sense. The basic facts of this fight in my head is, if this is a kickboxing match, Leon Edwards wins. If Islam can get his hands on him enough and take him down enough, he will win. But for me, Islam's ability to defensively grapple is better than Islam's ability to strike. So, I think Leon Edwards would win a decision against Islam Makhachev. One of those fights where it's competitive, yes, but there's a clear winner. A little bit like last year's International Fight Week, Moreno against Pantoja. Easily Alejandro won, but, you know, Brandon was in it for most of the fight. That kind of situation, kind of 48, 47, 49, 46-ish, something like that. Leon himself has been a major advocate of him wanting a champ-champ fight. So, how would he do against the new middleweight champion, Dricus du Plessis? Well, it's very intriguing, and I'll tell you for bloody why. When he fights, Mr. DDP looks a little bit like he's had 3.5, maybe 4 pints of Carlin at Wetherspoons and someone has tried to crack on with his missus. It doesn't look pretty, it looks goofy and it looks sloppy, but if you watch him, he's much more cerebral than you'd think. And the way you can combine that with his natural size, his aggression, and obviously the fact he's now got a working nose and he can properly breathe over 5 rounds and his cardio is actually not that bad. He is a danger to pretty much anybody he fights now, including Adesanya, and I think there is a lot that Adesanya does that Leon Edwards would do. So I think you can translate how you think both of those fights would go onto the other one. A lot of people who fight Leon Edwards end up in this kind of trance of his own realm. So he's always got the space in front of him. It turns into quite a sluggish, slow-paced kind of technical fight. I don't think Dricus would have any of that for a minute. He does not give a monkeys. He would charge straight forward, leave his chin right up in the air and get right on Leon's chest. And Leon wouldn't like that very much, I don't think. Like, you can even look at the Robert Whittaker fight and you can look at Whittaker as a fighter and you can see similarities with Leon Edwards. You know, they're counter-strikers, they're clean, they don't take unnecessary risks, that kind of thing. And Dricus walks straight through Robert Whittaker and he's a lot bigger than Leon. Well, not a lot bigger, but he is bigger. So, with all that being said, Dricus wins. I have question marks over Leon's chin. I mean, Brian Barberena nearly shit mixed him. I don't care what you say about lucky shot. Nate Diaz nearly put him out in the 5th round. Nate Diaz, right? That known fucking pillow-hander, right? I think Dricus would walk him down and it's a little bit of a fucking non-analytical way of saying it, but he'd kind of big brother him, in my opinion. He'd just kind of walk him down, rough him up, and eventually get to him, and most importantly, he'd put him right off his rhythm. So as you can see, with all that being said, I am going to say that Dricus du Plessis would get a mid-round TKO over Leon Edwards. Maybe end of the 3rd, maybe start the 4th, so going into the later stages, but yeah. Within kind of 16, 17 minutes, I think. Out of all the fights on this list, I think I'm probably most excited about the thought of this one. Alex Pereira against now the going up, rather than defending Dricus du Plessis. This is just, we need to, I'm sorry man, I know it's completely out of context, it won't happen, but it needs, come on. Look at this fight and tell me it wouldn't be bloody mustard, because it would be. Alex Pereira, for me, can be put off of his rhythm and his ideologies very, very easily. He's so devastating and so powerful and a fantastic kickboxer, and if I ever say anything bad about him again, he'll turn up to my house and kill me, right? So I'm just going to say he can be put off his rhythm and go no further. Dricus specialises in putting people off rhythms. I've just said it about Edwards. Now, Alex Pereira is very, very dangerous, especially for somebody like Dricus, who, as I've already said, is a little bit more cerebral than he's given credit for, but he still takes a lot of risks. And if Alex lands once, especially early, that could be all she wrote. It really could be. But I think Dricus fucks him up. I really do. I think he withstands an early onslaught. I think he gets as close to Alex as he can. I don't think he'll be anywhere near no man's land, all the way in or all the way out, as they say. Low kicks could be a problem for him, but I think if he gets close enough, the low kicks again are kind of nullified. I think over time he'll grind him down, man. I really do. The one time that Israel Adesanya wasn't on the outside against Alex, and he intercepted Alex almost, and made the punch before Alex could land it, he knocked him out clean. Dricus moves pretty quickly for a big dense dude. Alex likes his space. He likes to kind of read people. His low kicks are great for that as well. But I think Dricus, again, like I said with Leon, he'll just try and charge straight through it, but smarter than you think he will. So I think eventually he'd wear on Alex, he'd hurt him on the feet, he'd get him on the floor while he's tired, and submit him. Now, if you're a John Jones fan, fair play. He's a quality fighter, one of the best ever, 100%. But if you're a overzealous, let's say, John Jones fan, maybe click off now. I mean, thank you for the audience fucking retention numbers. Fantastic you got this far, but yeah, you're not going to like this if you like John Jones that much. He's just a knob, isn't he? He's a fucking pedhead knob. I mean, oh, I've injured myself. Well, why are you walking around fine 2 weeks later then, you stupid bastard? Anyway, yeah. John Jones, we didn't see a lot of him against Garn. That fight was over quite quickly. But I remember he tried to throw a low kick, and it looked like my dad was trying to throw a low kick. Do you know what I mean? It was the slowest low kick I've ever seen him throw. I know he was bigger and he's older. Fair enough, it's going to happen. But his boxing's never been great anyway. His kicks are the only thing on the feet, and his elbows. His kicks and his elbows are the only thing good about him on the feet. He looks slow in the training footage. Slow. He was just not lucky, but it was good he got the takedown when he did against Gane. Because if he didn't, who knows what would have happened. Is there a realistic chance that he does the same thing against AP? He just takes him down and subs him? Maybe. But I think there are two reasons why that wouldn't happen. Not straight away, anyway. Alex is working with Glover, who's fought John Jones and is bloody good on that kind of situation. The perfect guy to have in your corner. And two, I don't know. I think if you listen to John Jones's interviews, the only people who have ever really, I suppose, not scared him but intimidated him, the main one was Rampage Jackson, who is known for his power. Alex Pereira hits harder than Rampage Jackson ever did. I'll tell you that for free. And that could make Jones hesitate. And if he does, Alex Pereira is going to have a window. Maybe it's the first round, maybe it's less than the first round, maybe it's the first 6 or 7 minutes. He's got a window to land something. And I think he would against a slow old John Jones. So, Alex Pereira knocks out John Jones, wins the heavyweight belt. I'm just going to say it. Leave it in the fucking space. You can call me a cunt in the comments if you want. Probably not going to read it anyway. So, anyway, that's my take. And just to finish off, I've used my terrific editing skills and I've given you a little recap of what I've said in the video. So, I think Zhang Weili would hold the strawweight and the flyweight title. I think Raquel Pennington would hold on to a fucking bantamweight title, even though no one gives a crap. I think Pantoja obviously wouldn't have defended at flyweight, so he'd keep it. O'Malley would have both bantamweight and featherweight titles. Islam would keep 155. Leon would keep 170. And then Dricus would have 185 and 205. And Alex Pereira would be the heavyweight champion of the world. To then fight Tom Aspinall, by the way. Well, that just about wraps up this mildly controversial entry in the SJMMA archives. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know. Plenty more content coming out soon. I'm being consistent now because the algorithm kind of doesn't know me anymore. So we've got to focus and get back on it and see where we end up. So, lads, again, I hope you enjoyed. Lots more coming out soon. I've already said that. I'm going to shut up now. See you later.